been a while since we did an update video on this car. The 1991 944 with the 6-liter Chevy V8 in it. We had a couple things we were going to do maintenance-wise over the Christmas holiday, and that was change the oil and filter, clean the air filter, and probably put a new set of plugs in it. So we got the oil changed and moved on to the other, even more important aspect of maintenance was the right rear axle shaft. The one boot, I had nicked it, and it's starting to, spray grease all over the place. So I haven't really been driving it much because of that. So I figured we'd do some upgrading while we were talking about doing axles. But unfortunately, it didn't work out the way I thought it was, or would. So I bought these Empi new CV joints to go on these axles. And I knew that some 944 axles were 25 spline and some were 33 spline. And since I had a set of Turbo S axles that needed to be rebuilt, a set of naturally aspirated axles that needed to be rebuilt, plus I also had the left side one from this car originally that needed to be rebuilt. And, that was a couple years ago. And what I did was I found a nearly new axle on eBay real cheap. So I just bought it and stuck it on there. But anyway, I figured with that variety of axles, turbo, non-turbo, 1991 is as late as they get, and earlier NA stuff, I would have the miraculous 33 spline axle here somewhere. Turns out I don't. These are all 25 spline. So I was kind of in a debacle. I mean, these are really, really nice, but turns out I can't use them unless I get a new axle or a used 33 spline axle, more likely. But anyway, I even took these apart and figured maybe you could swap innards with these. These are turbo ones. They're 951 labeled joints. But the balls are actually a little bit smaller in these than they are in that. So you can't even swap out the center section because then it makes it all sloppy and stuff. And anyway, so what I ended up doing was just taking the axle that I had removed from the car, and I went through what I tore apart and cleaned up, like 5 CV joints out of this bunch. And most of them are not that good. These two are set aside here because they're actually galled inside. There's a spot in there where it's actually missing metal. So those are junk. These were the 2 best ones. These are also 951 marked CV joints. And one of them is good and the other one is, well, it's not quite galled. It has a mark, but it's not terrible. So now we have this one rebuilt. We're going to stick it on there. So we bought a few extras while we were buying stuff. Bought a rear camber adjusting wrench gadget. So the next time we got to do an alignment on the rear of this thing, we can do it a little easier. And a rear toe tool. Some other goodies that we got are, we got a speedometer here so we can rebuild that odometer that's in that spare gauge cluster we got, and get some LED lights for the dashboard. We'll see if that helps at all. All right, let's get it on there. So here's what we're talking about. You can see some of the grease getting flung out from this boot, and I nicked this boot when I pulled these bolts out to put the gear on, the speedometer gear, well, the vehicle speed sensor. And actually, on closer inspection, it looks like the grease is coming out of here, not out of the boot. Not only that, these bolts have pretty seriously come loose. I have no idea how the heck that happened. But anyway, let's get at it. Alrighty there. So we got our axle in, and bolts all torqued down in the speed sensor ring on the inner CV joint. And just for kicks, we're gonna fire it up and run it for a little bit, just to make sure everything is right. Okay, after running it for a little bit in gear, I torqued down all the axle bolts again. 27 foot-pounds, I believe, is what they're supposed to be. And I did the ones on the other side too. So basically, I just torqued all of the axle bolts down. I didn't find any loose ones on the driver's side, but that was a little disturbing, seeing the ones on the against the transaxle on the passenger side. All of them were loose but one. So I think we're gonna run it for a while, and then we're gonna recheck the torque on that. Hopefully they don't loosen up.